Kerem and the Whispering River. Kerem was a curious 8-year-old boy who lived in a small village beside a wide river that gleamed like silver in the sun, and every morning he helped his grandmother fetch water in a wooden bucket while the chickens clucked for their breakfast, and every evening he walked with his best friend Zeynep along the riverbank to watch the sky turn pink and gold. But one clear night after he finished his chores, he stayed outside and heard a soft voice calling his name from the water. And when he leaned forward to listen more closely, he felt the wind on his face, and the river seemed to whisper, "Follow my song to the secret spring." So Kerem felt both excitement and a little fear, yet he knew he must be brave, for he loved adventures. And he ran home to fetch Zeynep, who lived next door and carried a small lantern in her backpack, and she bounced with surprise and joy when Kerem told her what he had heard. So before dawn they packed 2 cheese sandwiches, 2 water bottles, compass, a warm scarf for Zeynep, Kerem's sturdy flashlight, and a soft cloth in which Kerem tucked a smooth pebble from the riverbank that glowed faintly when the river whispered, and they promised Kerem's grandmother they would return by lunchtime. Then they slipped through the garden gate under a sky of pale stars and followed the narrow path that ran beside the water, where dragonflies hovered like tiny helicopters and frogs croaked in the reeds, and Kerem held the pebble carefully so its glow could guide them when the sun rose. As they walked they heard the river's soft song grow louder near a fallen willow tree whose twisted roots formed a small arch, and when they passed through the arch they entered a hidden dell full of ferns and wildflowers, and at the center of the dell a little stream bubbled up from the ground in a patch of shining moss, and the water sparkled in the lantern's light like liquid diamonds. The river's whispering voice said, "This is the secret spring, but the water is weak. Please help me gather stones from the river to make a path for the water to flow stronger." So Kerem and Zeynep looked around and found 5 smooth river stones that shone in soft colors, red like sunrise, orange like a marigold, yellow like sunlight, green like new leaves, and blue like the sky, and they arranged the stones one by one across the moss, making a gentle channel for the water to run toward the dell's edge. And with each stone the water sang a little louder and the moss glowed with new life. As they placed the final blue stone the water rushed over the path in a clear ribbon, and the spring gleamed so brightly that Zeynep gasped and Kerem's heart filled with pride. The river's voice spoke again, calmer and warmer, "Thank you, kind helpers. You gave my spring new strength. Now drink a sip and I will share my stories." Kerem knelt and drank a small cup of cool spring water, and Zeynep did the same, and they felt a gentle warmth spread in their chests like sunshine. Then the water in the stream rose a little, and small silver fish leapt out and formed a circle around their feet, and each fish carried a tiny crystal on its back in the colors of the stones they had placed, and one by one the fish offered the crystals to Kerem and Zeynep, a red crystal for courage, an orange crystal for kindness, a yellow crystal for joy, a green crystal for hope, and a blue crystal for calm, and each crystal glowed softly in their hands. The river's voice said, "Keep these crystals to remember that every gentle act helps more than you know." And then a gentle breeze rustled the leaves and carried the sound of the old willow's branches singing like a lullaby. Kerem and Zeynep thanked the river and the fish and carried the crystals in their pockets as they made a small heart of stones at the mouth of the spring to show their thanks, and when they stepped back through the willow arch the stones in the stream glimmered in farewell. They hurried home along the bank where the first light of dawn painted the sky in pink and gold, and by the old stone bridge they crossed back to the village just as the church bells rang for morning prayers. When Kerem's grandmother saw them she asked where they had been, and Kerem and Zeynep showed her the glow in their eyes and the smooth crystals in their hands, and Kerem told her the story of the Whispering River, the secret spring, and how they had helped the water flow stronger, and his grandmother listened with shining eyes and said, "You have shown courage, kindness, joy, hope, and calm. The river thanks you, and so do I." That afternoon Kerem placed the 5 crystals on the windowsill where they caught the sunlight and glowed like rainbows, and Zeynep pressed the last crystal into her notebook beside the words, "Kindness makes rivers strong." And that night as Kerem lay in bed he heard a soft murmur in his dreams like the lullaby of willow branches, and he knew the river's song would always be with him, guiding him to new adventures and gentle acts of help wherever he went.